At this moment, the world has entered the Ice Age. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 426. The Kunlun Mountain Conference lasted a total of 10 hours. Within this 10 hours, 3 plans were made. The next steps of the Zulang rebirth plan were formulated. At the same time, this plan also laid the foundation for the future development. At 8 AM on January 2, 23rd of the Ice Age, this is the final moment of the Kunlun Mountain Conference. Now in the conference room, Ying Ziyue looks at every team leader present. He has never had any emotions, but he has nostalgia and sadness in his eyes. He misses those friends, because now those group leaders one by one are young people. Some of his best friends either moved out of the universe, some more participated in a confrontation and then sacrificed. Now, he only sees a group of young people. All his comrades in arms from that era are gone. He watched quietly, as if sighing. Then he stared at this great place. He could feel the calls of those friends from the underground. Everyone, what do you think the next world will look like? Ying Ziyue spoke. Then everyone spoke. This sentence was not his official speech, but it was also a question of global Western democracy, Eastern people, a college, a middle school, and elementary school, as well as every family, every child. That is what the future will look like. This is a difficult guess, but now, Ying Ziyue's special identity has been asked, so it contains a very special meaning. After what I just said, the sky is snowing again at this moment. And the weather of -49 is -53 degrees of the refrigerator. A flurry of goose feathers, snow, hail, and rainstorms once again struck the world overwhelmingly. The blizzard roared and hail raged, but Ying Ziyue still looked out the window. As for the global news, the heat has exploded. Every netizen was extremely excited, and they all looked forward to it. Global news. Every Western public, especially scholars, many scholars and people are excited to leave messages and express their opinions, because they seem to be participating in the future. Drive Mars. Unlike others, I think the future will be a brand new era, because from the perspective of the current layout of the East Antarctica, Africa, Siberia, Pacific, Mount Everest, global urban channels, satellites are gone. From the perspective of the 8 huge projects in the space ladder, I can only say that the future is unimaginable! 0 Find flowers, drive gels. This is a scientific research scientist in the Rose Country. I can only say that I'd pay more attention to the power of infrastructure. Now, among the historical buildings in the East, what I can feel is the majestic southern city of the East, called the Sky Corridor. High-rise buildings are connected one by one, which looks like alien residential areas and northern cities in the East. It is called the Paradise of Giants. The heat is extremely high. Almost all the people are expressing their opinions, because they are all looking forward to seeing the Earth out of the dense galaxy one day, when they are old, and being able to feel human beings entering the future era. But everyone has a beautiful vision. Now everyone is standing solemnly. Almost everyone in the world is here. They are against the blizzard. They are against everything. They are in any environment. Some in the classroom, some on the island, some in the sky airship, some trains in the global snow country, some are in houses, some are planting greenhouses outdoors, etc. Any area, any place, any time, everyone is watching the live broadcast, and they are all watching the Ying Ziyue in the center of the screen. They are looking forward to his answer. At this moment, all the pictures are on Ying Ziyue. Death. Chapter 427. Now there is only one point left in the whole scene, and that is Ying Ziyue as an engineer of an engineering project. The tasks he carries with him are immense, so his vision, his eyes are also extremely deep. All eyes fell on him, and many people were curious about his opening. Now Ying Ziyue has his hands on his back. He points to the outside of the blizzard, watching the hail from the top of the 1700-meter mountain, turning into a blizzard, and he speaks. First of all, our city of steel will be transformed into a city of scientific research through the 403, and all scientific research cities will evolve into global channels, as 4 travel will appear in a new form. That is, the global snow country train will connect to the space ladder. Now at this moment, when Ying Ziyue is here, the people present began to know how great the layout of the man in front of him was. He is really following the logic, and then lay out the areas across the ages, the city of steam, the city of steel, the city of science and technology, then the global channel, finally the floating train icebreaker, and the global snow country train. And then the space ladder. Two complete layout diagrams lead to every road at the same time. Every road is incomparably clear and incomparably clear. All roads point to one thing, that is, the current era. So now, after he finishes these 2 points, the team leaders present. They changed from worshipping to crazy worship, because they were all carrying out projects one by one. They knew how great these projects were, and now they fully understand the depth of Ying Ziyue's layout. Finally, under the attention of the audience, Ying Ziyue spoke. Antarctic Scientific Research Station. The Antarctic Scientific Research Station will be the first scientific research center in the East. The Antarctic Scientific Research Station is connected to a geostationary satellite orbiting the Earth, which means that it is also connected to the sky orbit. This means that you can monitor any area of the world, any address information, any weather information at any time. So you remember that the Antarctic Scientific Research Station, the space geostationary orbit, and the sky corridor are all connected and can truly control the Earth. Able to swallow clouds and fog. Finally is the Taiping Sea Center. The Taiping Sea Center is the first one that can be controlled in real time. All the icebreakers on the Earth and all the icebreaking aircraft carriers enter the ocean. It also guarantees that the ocean, in the coming thousands of years, will have any changes, and any fluctuations in the surrounding countries will be covered under the management of the Pacific Center, which means permanent qualitative security. As for Siberia, Siberia is the best unmanned aerial vehicle and the best test site. It can be carried out here, and the development of mineral resources can also be carried out one by one, to combat the impact of lasers and weapons one by one. Test, which means that this will be the best test field in the East, where you can test the best weapons, the most advanced weapons. This will also become the most rigorous and important military area. As for Africa, during the civilization period, it was full of gold and diamonds, but now, there will be one of the engines of the Earth. That is to say, it will be an engine. All will be jointly promoted, accompanied by the roar of the engine. The engine will promote the Earth. It means that the origin of the giant engine of the East in Africa, and it also means that the East has the core management power. Once this promotion stops, the Earth will be in a static state, and it also means that the East holds the key to the destiny of the Earth, and Mount Everest is the global weapon strike center. If Siberia is a weapon testing center, then Mount Everest is the strategic center. It will target any piece of blood clot, any piece of iceberg, any object or human, or iceberg, etc. that can pose a threat. All forms of life for dinosaur groups or giant marine creatures can be tracked and attacked. When it comes to this, the live broadcast of the whole audience has disappeared, because this is a top secret meeting, and every group leader present has completely changed their faces. They didn't know how many of them Dongfang had mastered until this moment. Backhand. Even if there are tens of thousands of geniuses in the West, they will never be able to change the fortune, because the East has too many deadly methods. At this moment Ying Ziyue turned on the global screen. Then he spoke to the world, as if he was facing this era. So, when Dongfang has a reserve of whole cards one by one, what do you think will be next? At this moment, it seems that Ying Ziyue is speaking to this era. Chapter 428. Now with Ying Ziyue's voice, when he finished talking about the global layout, every forbidden area, every scenic spot in the world, the detailed layout, and the detailed division have all appeared in front of everyone. More than 1,000 global team leaders were present, as well as nearly billions of netizens watching global live broadcasts. It can be said that everyone feels it. After these layouts, they seem to have seen an unknown era. The conference room is still at a constant temperature, and Western agricultural leader Eric said, according to the idea of patriarch Ying, then I think that next, when the Earth goes out of the dense galaxy, then the Earth will enter the future world, which is a futuristic and mysterious world. When the time comes, Fishendun D02, the space ladder, all anti-gravity technologies will appear one after another. Who can imagine that this was originally an era of catastrophic extinction, and the era of high-end technology development was completed by the patriarch Ying. Alex Robb, the industrial leader of the Eagle Country, also spoke. Compared to other people, he prefers the strategic military bases in the East. As a genius and a passionate man, he prefers the power of gun bombing, because he thinks this is the most basic reserve chassis of a country. I don't know Africa and the Pacific Ocean. I only know that Siberia will become the largest experimental center. It is hard to imagine that with so many regions in Siberia and the orbital groups of the world's major stars, how many bombs will be tested? How many weapons will be tested? Unimaginable. In short, the center of the current conference room has become extremely excited, and everyone is excited. They know that the next direction is to start the last part of the Zhulang rebirth plan according to the words of Patriarch Ying. Finally Ying Ziyue opened all the windows. Outside the windows were all water vapor produced by the collision of snowstorm and heat flow point. Then he bowed slightly, and then showed an elegant and sincere smile point at this moment. He faced everyone and stretched out his fist. Everyone, I don't know when we will meet again next time. Next, let us embrace the new era together. At this moment, after Ying Ziyue stood up, the other group leaders in the conference room and all the group leaders of the projections used the most ancient interests of the Eastern Qin dynasty. This is called the bowing ceremony, and each one represents the supremacy of the owner. Etiquette. Afterwards, an airship appeared, and the group leaders started to get on the airship and leave, because they had a more difficult task point in the end. Only Ying Ziyue was left in the conference room of Nuo University, but behind him were rows of airships waiting for him. This scene was also filmed by Eastern photographers, on the second peak of Kunlun Mountain, which is 1700 meters high in the huge meeting room with all the windows open. Ying Ziyue wore a white military uniform, as if he merged with the heavens and the earth and those blizzards into one color. Then he faced the vastness of mountains and rivers, faced the vast world. He stood quietly, engraving in this era. When this photo was taken, the cameraman felt that he was recording the most important thing in this era. At 5 PM on January 2, 23rd of the Ice Age, the Kunlun Mountain Conference ended, and at the same time, the last part of the Oriental Zhulang Rebirth project was opened. That is, the global corridor to the sky, the space ladder. 407. This project is called the Chronicle of the New Humanity in the Post-Civilization. And it is also called the first threshold for mankind to enter the future world, and the low threshold for the East to enter the first-class civilization. And Ying Ziyue is called a lot in later generations. He is called the master of each other's times, the son of luck. At this moment, if someone overlooks the earth at an altitude of 11,000 meters, they will see a different landscape. Now the earth is no longer extremely bad and extreme weather. Cambrian life is exploding with new energy. Plant life, animal life is also sweeping the earth, sweeping every region of the world. In those magnificent sea areas, giant dense fish, porcupines and other prehistoric marine creatures have once again appeared. This also heralds the arrival of a new era. Chapter 429. What is the greatest luck in the world? That is to be able to witness the earth-shaking changes in an era. Especially in this era, you can guide yourself and make arrangements by yourself. And now the cold wind whistles and whimpers from blizzards, and the mountains are being covered indiscriminately. Now the 500 square meter, 1700 meter high conference room, the windows are completely opened, and the current global news has become the same as Ying Ziyue's sight, shining on any area of the world. The global title of this scene directly becomes, let us look at the world in the 23rd year of the Ice Age for the last time, because in the future, the earth will develop at a high speed, and we will also enter a world of technology and a future. Now, please open your eyes. You will see this world for the last time, and a new era will come. When this title appears, people around the world, everyone, are excited, and some are expecting everyone to wait for the outbreak of this new era. At this moment, the explosion has already begun. Start now. His eyes follow the satellite's eyes. At first glance, it is the northern cities in the east. Now the northern cities do not have those small residential areas. Instead, they have all been transformed into a strip of skyscrapers, towering hundreds of thousands of stories in the sky. Some are close to 2,000 meters high, and some are 3-story buildings entwined like propellers, which look like alien bases. Same point at the same time. In the periphery of these cities, urban renewal, a smart wind turbine is spinning inducing the intelligent management channel, as well as the anti-corrosion graphene grid structure, all play a role at a time point. It seems that the northern city in the east has become a paradise for giants, a place of new life for science and technology. Then the picture shifted to the south, and the south was jagged. Connected cities in the sky. Those high-rise buildings, those pieces of buildings, pieces of tall buildings appeared. The corridors of the sky corridor are connected, and it looks like the city is like a city. In this city, you can go to any area, all major areas, and at the same time on the periphery of the city. This is a protective lattice structure, as well as top heating boilers, suspension trains, aerial suspension trains, underground suspension trains, and more. It's like a city of the future that has it. At the same time, in the middle of the north and south, construction vehicles are about to start. This is to prepare for the next global channel. Also on the periphery of the two cities, the global snow country train roared, the engine roared, and then the train began to gallop. The global snow country train went over the snow, and then headed towards the human civilization residents. And on the sea, here is the offshore. The sea wall has become 3-story high, with a total height of 876 meters. This kind of sea wall has truly become a giant sea dam, which can defend against a 10-level tsunami, and hundreds of meters high waves have no effect at all. This is a terrifying sea dam. In the rough seas, icebreakers and icebreaker aircraft carriers all headed to the center of the Pacific Ocean one after another at the same time. The lights on the sea surface and the ancient fishes, the giant whales and sharks all appeared. They wandered in the waves, looking like ghost pongs of unknown times. Whether it's Zio, at the same time in a piece of no man's land, countless ancient animals, Cambrian beasts, and Jurassic dinosaurs all began to appear. Tyrannosaurus, Velociraptor, and pterosaurs start to soar in the sky. Saber-toothed tigers, mammoths, giant crocodiles, giant pythons, those prehistoric animals are all rewritten, and a lighthouse in every major area of the world is shining on the blizzard chariot galloping. This is a scene of the new era, or it is just a little picture of the world. This is the era created by Ying Ziyue. Chapter 430. The global picture title is Now Please Remember This Era, as the name suggests. In the next engineering changes, after the great engineering infrastructure begins, then this era will no longer exist. Everything that existed in the glacier civilization and the civilization era will be buried deep underground, will be buried deep under the sea, and then be completely forgotten, because a future science fiction civilization will make people fascinated. He will replace all civilization systems. So now the global live broadcast is the last culture of this era. Now it is the no man's land in the east, and those icebergs in no man's land have been carved into oriental historical mythological figures. God of War Xingqian, and Hao Yi holding a bow and arrow, and Kuo-Fu chasing the sun, the myths and legends of Jinghui reclamation, and so on were all carved on the iceberg, and then there were written records of these legends on the iceberg. At the same time, in every mountain range in the east, every lighthouse, the lighthouse is engraved with words, and the Analects of the east are engraved with ancient poems, 4 books and 5 classics, Tang poems and song poetry, 8-part essays and other famous celebrities are all engraved on the lighthouse. Each blizzard also has the most distinctive videos of ancient times written on its body, as well as poems. At the same time, every city in the east has a number of museums and exhibition halls. These exhibition halls are oriental historical relics, not the dazzling golden jewelry, and the equipment used by the princes and nobles. It's a bamboo slip but a fan. But the most basic thing that can prove the existence of ancient culture. He doesn't look gorgeous, but it represents the cultural heritage of the east. Ying Ziyue is now at the height of the second high mountain of 1700 meters in Kunlun Mountain. He walked out of the meeting room. Now he is wearing a white military uniform, which is spotless, and without any creases. He is standing on the mountain pass. His military uniform is a smart thermal insulation clothing. He stood here quietly and then watched the magnificent mountains, seas, clouds, and mist under 1,700 meters, and the scenery was so beautiful to the extreme. At the same time, the satellite picture freezes it again. Ying Ziyue became the center of the picture. He looked at the satellite image, as if he was saying to many people, and as if he was saying to himself, that is, let us remember that we will enter a new era next, and remember the last scene of this era. As he spoke, countless people felt sad, because this may be Ying Ziyue's last act. He is now more than 40 years old, and has been invincible for so many years. In his heart, his spirit has reached the limit point. Saints in this world are also alive. Even if they are carved, they will be exhausted physically and mentally. If they are alive, at this moment, Siberia has become an industrial development zone for mankind. Blizzard chariots are gradually clearing out blood holes in underground passages, large pits, and so on. Deep pits are beginning to be cleared. The islands in the Pacific Ocean have become a transit channel for icebreaker aircraft carriers. Every icebreaker carrier will stop here and be stationed here. Material transportation, temporary recuperation, and temporary supplies will all be here. The Arctic Research Center has completely become the Arctic Life Center. The top weather research devices are launched here and are equipped here. It can be said that the Arctic Research Center has a great appeal for life. As for the African states that have accumulated snow before, or they are different, the African states once again have new vitality, and there is the Great African Prairie. It's just that the lives of other species appearing in the prairie, the mammoth group, the saber-toothed tiger group, the ancient antelope group, the ancient central area, and the ancient crocodiles, all of which are ancestral organisms. At the same time, in the depths of the African prairie, there are some branches of dinosaurs from the Jurassic period such as Tyrannosaurus, dinosaurs, pterosaurs, herbivores, and so on. Records in the Glacier Chronicles. It is recorded in history that Glacier was more than 5 p.m. on January 2nd, 23. This time is called the commemoration of the second glacier age in the world, because after the Ice Age will enter the sci-fi era. This scene was called it the eternal memorial time for mankind. They must remember this disaster and give them many memories. A new era has come. The old times are buried. Chapter 431. Everyone will remember the present, as the time of 5 o'clock has come. The sky begins to darken slowly. The prairie was also stained with afterglow, and then began to reach Mount Everest point. There is still an extremely murderous atmosphere here. The phased array radar has automatic cruisers, while automatically scanning the sky. UAVs and automatic cruise robots are all available 24 hours a day. Guardian. At the foot of Mount Everest, there is a big stone stele. There is no text on the big stone stele. There is only a statue. The style of the statue is a scene from the Eastern Qin dynasty. As for the meaning, people all over the world know that this is the place of attack from the east. Is also a place to be touched. The global layout is sure to cover the whole world, so not only the east, but the west has also been paid attention to. That is the realization of the global snow country train. The global snow country train departs from the east, then crosses the Kawasaki Islands, crosses the floating bridge, and then arrives at the Eagle Country, which is an agricultural country. Before the Eagle Nation was known as a dark castle. The people of the Eagle Nation were all hidden under the castle, and they belonged to a semi-underground civilization to survive. But then the plates collided with a lot of stagnant water, cold, and material lack made them have to start to move to the ground. Desperate survival. Their civilization on the ground belongs to the early days of the Steam Age. Because of the extreme shortage of materials and the exceptionally cold weather, they can only use the civilization of steam. But then after the East came, they evolved directly from the steam period to the later period of iron civilization. So steam engine ships appeared in the world, and a new intelligent agricultural greenhouse appeared, and they survived. It can be said that the agricultural greenhouses in the East have completely turned this area into an agricultural back garden point. The Eagle Nation has all become farmers. Their responsibilities are related to agriculture, poultry, flower, and grass breeding. Their ancestors and future generations are all owners. All their children and grandchildren learn are the botanists whose cultivation science and other academics. This is the character Ying Ziyue gave them, and it cannot be changed even after millions of years. Then the new picture of the global satellite arrived in the Rose Country, the country of roses. In the Ice Age, the Rose Nation really chose the underground civilization. They built a complete geocentric world underground, a chain of underground passages of geocentric cities. But then, long-term absence of the sun, humidity, darkness, collapse, plate collision, lack of food, and extreme pressure of the dark environment have caused a large number of conflicts, etc., which has caused the underground civilization to be close to a state of semi-assisted rest point in the end. Alex led the people of the Rose Nation to escape from the ground and came to the surface to create a complete steam civilization. But then the East built it into a real full-scale industrial corridor! Zero fine flowers. It can be said that this is a truly integrated agricultural journey. It is placed in every area and every location of me here. All of them have been built into industrial greenhouse factories, pieces of factories, and then the factories are connected, and this becomes an industrial corridor. After the Eagle Nation has become an industrial corridor, it can be said that it has new industrial power again. That is all the people, all the Rose Kingdoms, from high officials to every commoner and every child. What they learn is basic mechanics and electronic instrumentation, and all they are exposed to are simple mechanics. 0. The task that their ancestors have memorized for generations is to study industrial machinery. They will be the Earth, the country of machinery industry, must also be, because this is one of Ying Ziyue's plans. One is the country of agriculture, the Eagle Country. One is the country of industry, the country of roses. As for the only detached country in the East, it can be understood as the only place for the inheritance of global civilization, a place for the general inheritance of scientific research, the place where civilization is inherited, the most sacred place, and the most ancient place. This is the plan that Ying Ziyue has covered from beginning to end. He expressed it very clearly, and no one questioned it in this era, because as long as he is there, no one will question death. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 432. In the 23rd year of the Ice Age, it is March 1st. 3 months have passed since the Kunlun Mountain Conference. The leaders of the world's major teams have already returned to their posts. They have bigger things to be busy. And now this is the Oriental Dragon City. In the center of the huge conference room, every city now has become sci-fi. Even Dragon City has been built in the style of the Northern City, which is like a city in the shape of a propeller. Ups and downs, straight into the blue sky. And now Ying Ziyue is standing on the tallest building in the 47 world of Dragon City, at 2,785 meters. The total floor is up to 3, and the top floor is the Oriental Conference Room. Now in the conference room on this floor, the panoramic floor-to-ceiling windows are open, and at the same time, you can see that there are flying fighters, airships, and scientific researchers flying by in the sky. It should be understood that, in order to prevent flying chariots from entering such tall buildings by mistake, each floor is equipped with a graphene protective structure and a striking impact structure, which means that when those airships hit the tall buildings will automatically start defenses. The mechanism will strike this kind of airship at the moment of impact. Up to now, Ying Ziyue is enjoying watching the miraculous scenes before her eyes. This is the world of science fiction. By his side, the engineering team leader Li Hao didn't understand, because he was born in the Ice Age. He was only 19 years old. He was born 2 or 3 years after the Ice Age. He didn't know what civilization was like, even if it was recorded in the book. He knew that the civilization period was a very complicated thing. There were highways and cars on the ground, but there were no such devices as flying chariots. Now the conference room engineer Li Hao reports. The report director, the first project of the global channel has been opened. Shall we check it next? After the deputy team leader finished speaking, Ying Ziyue nodded. At this moment, the roof of the high-rise building opened. A flying chariot, a blizzard chariot, and an automatic jetpack were traveling. The two of them did not ride the jetpack this time, but instead went on Flying motorcycle point. This is a brand new form of flying motorcycle. It adopts the Holocene flying structure and has a superb flying concept. It can generally accommodate 3 to 4 people. At the same time, it uses a panoramic enclosed flying motorcycle. It is currently one of the black technologies. Because of this adoption of counterforce for the purpose, on the roof, the largest flying motorcycle currently parked on the roof. This is army green, and the patterns on it are the strange beasts recorded in the Eastern Mountain and Sea classics, which look extremely cruel. Then I got on the flying motorcycle. This time Ying Ziyue personally drove him. He turned on the engine, accompanied by the reaction power and He-Jun's pushing sound. A burst roar sounded. Then the engine roared, and the flying motorcycle took off slowly. The people inside felt it. No vibration. This is the combined impetus of counter power and nuclear power, with excellent flight and strike capabilities. At this moment, the army green flying motorcycle took off slowly, and then headed towards the northern city in the east, because the global channel to the north has been opened. As Ying Ziyue pushed the steering wheel, the horrible impetus sounded quickly. At the same time, the pictures in front of me, those extreme weather, those blizzards, clouds and hail, just like mountains and seas, and then quickly erupted and quickly condensed. After all, this is the current fastest flying chariot that has reached the speed of 1,800 kilometers per hour. Finally arrived in an hour later, the northern city, at a height of 1,500 meters, and then overlooking the city. What humans can feel is the majestic point and the magnificent shock of wave 5.5. The high-rise buildings in the north are all connected, and they all become the city of propeller structure. There are many skyscrapers, and there are countless buildings with a height of more than 1,000 meters high, as if this is the residence of aliens, as if this is the civilization paradise of aliens. This is the prototype of the current science fiction era. Chapter 433. What is a science fiction future city? The urban structure in the north now tells Ying Ziyue and the people around the world that the north is no longer a community or a flatland, but a towering and undulating building point. These are all huge buildings, often up to hundreds or thousands of floors. Each building presents a protection mechanism, which means that the 4 buildings are entwined into one building, so it looks extremely magnificent, but it is in this one. There may be tens of thousands of people living in the building. So in northern cities, you can see entangled buildings, with tens of thousands of people behind each building, and thousands of buildings in the north point at the same time. These undulating buildings are all built and arranged neatly. Suspended trains on the ground, highways, zero to sky trains. This means that, if these people live on high floors, they do not need to go downstairs. There are trains and vegetable markets in the sky, and they can play and shop in the sky. There are ornamental gardens and small vegetable markets in midair with ornamental plants. It can be said that the city of the giants of the east has truly reached the level of science fiction, and below the city is a majestic underground passage. The semi-underpass area is extremely large. The width of the underground passages, 200 kilometers. It looks like a giant underground highway, spreading directly to the southern city. Seeing this scene, Ying Ziyue nodded contentedly. This is the ideal science fiction city. Finally, the roar of the flying chariot continued. This time Ying Ziyue personally felt the impact brought by the flying chariot when anti-gravity and propulsion were combined. The rear engine of the flying motorcycle emitted a scorching high temperature, and then suddenly propelled. A cloud of smoke is left in the sky, and around this flying motorcycle are the man-made backpacks for the guards, man-made drones, and automatic cruise guards. This is the protection from the military. After 45 minutes, arrived in the southern city of Guangzhou, as the most classic city in the south. This is known as the sci-fi land in the south of the east. The city in the south is different from the high-rise buildings in the north. The normal residential buildings here are all around 100 floors, which does not seem to be too high or too short. However, every residential building is normal. The civilized world buildings only use graphene and thickened brick walls, but every community has been built and gone, which means that one community corridor is connected. The corridor seems to be a shade canopy, covering a piece of area, piece of territory. At the same time, above the corridor, there are suspended trains, food areas, and shops one by one. It can be said that these chains of agricultural shops have been created as a sky corridor city. Why is the South also called the City of the Sky? It looks like these corridors are like cities built in the sky, and in the southern city, a 200-kilometer wide giant underground passage has clearly appeared. This is an extremely majestic underground passage in the south, and it is connected with the dark underground passage in the north. It looks shocking, but the waves are magnificent. Now Ying Ziyue's flying motorcycle continues to increase its altitude by 1,500 meters, then to a height of 2,000 meters, 3,000 meters in height. After the height of 3,100 meters, he began to clearly see the two passages moving in one direction. They were only 500 kilometers away, and after 500 kilometers, they could be dug through. This is a truly epic level project. In the cabin of the flying motorcycle, Ying Ziyue pressed the opening of the headset. Next, we will go out to fly motorcycles. We will start as ordinary people, and then feel the degree of completion of this project and the strength of each team building. After Ying Ziyue finished speaking, Li Hao, the deputy team leader, nodded, and he quickly started making arrangements. This moment, the flying motorcycle began to slowly descend, then descend to the ground. An off-road tank with a brand new look, and the same appearance as a normal tank has appeared. This is a super off-road vehicle, equipped with super bulletproof, anti-nuclear shock, etc. Everything is only for the inspection of the Dongfang group leader. Chapter 434. This is a southern city. The total width of the black underground passage now covers 200 kilometers. Ying Ziyue rides on a brand new off-road vehicle, but the chassis of the off-road vehicle in the Ice Age is not a tire, but a new track. Similar to the track of a tank. This is a completely new form. It can be said that on the glacier, this kind of track can move quickly in some extremely bad weather. This kind of chariot also has a large area of light reserve, which can provide energy for the vehicle, even if the vehicle is trapped. Can survive for nearly 3 months. Judging from Ying Ziyue's sight, he saw blizzard chariots set off from southern cities. These were trucks one by one. Various construction teams were pulled on the trucks. The Black City passages were fully enclosed aisle point aisle, a fully enclosed super cooperative channel with a dome, which can accommodate materials and vehicles close to millions of people for semi-underground transportation. At the same time, the second channel can also be used for defense and combat missile strikes and other shockwave strikes. Now Ying Ziyue's off-road vehicle seems to have entered one of 10 million vehicles. He looks extremely small, but sitting in the car, the automatic driving navigation is turned on. This is the BDAL positioning navigation of the East Point. You can feel the excellent intelligence of the vehicle in the compartment. This is called the Eastern Team Leader Super Vehicle Point. The biggest advantage of this kind of vehicle is that its appearance is not much different from ordinary vehicles, but the interior has anti-gravity, small flight, short jet, super 10-layer protection, intelligent temperature adjustment and other anomalies, which can be called Black Technology Project. This means that this car can survive for a short time even if it falls on the moon. Now the sky is getting darker and darker. Ying Ziyue saw the flags planted in the motorcades, and the workers were singing songs. Army in the army, steel in steel, we are the enthusiasts of the motherland. Now there are more and more truck teams, and every city fleet has flagpoles. These flagpoles represent their combat effectiveness. For example, the 10th Southern Engineering Team will go ! 760 people from the Southern 20th Infrastructure Engineering Team are here. The Southern Green Flag Infrastructure Team has 9,270 people. One after another convoys converged into a torrent, then began to support the construction. Visible to the naked eye, a huge passage appeared in the north and south. On both sides of the passages a global snow country train, and the passage is like digging a grand canal, and huge projects are beginning to be excavated, and Ying Ziyue's blizzard vehicles shuttled in this kind of traffic, and then he lamented the horror of this project. The current distance of the south-north passage is 500 kilometers. Works at the moment. Start large-scale construction. Finally he nodded. Off-road vehicles gradually started to get on the normal highways. The highways of the Ice Age are completely different from the civilization period. They are divided into multi-level highways, as long as they are equipped with new crawler vehicles. The off-road vehicle started timing, and finally embarked on the road of the global snow country train point. This time, Ying Ziyue went to the west point, arrived in the Eagle country 7 hours later. For this reason, the Eagle country is now completely dark, which is about 4:30 in the morning. But even so, due to the severe weather coming from the southern glacier, patches of blizzards, dark clouds and thunderstorms are coming. Strikes. The lightning in the sky still illuminates this area. At a glance, one by one agricultural greenhouses undulate. At the same time, the underground passage of the Rose Country was still dug 75 kilometers, and the people in the steam-style city of the Rose Country were all amazed or looking at the engineering excavation with shocked expressions. The giant tower cranes, giant forklifts, and giant cranes that are thousands of meters high are all installed with airships. The difficulty is extremely high. At present, only the East has mastered this core industrial technology. There were also forklifts of close to 3,000 tons and giant tunnel vehicles of close to 10,000 tons. Then there was a blasting sound. The tunnel rocks were blasted. Then the forklifts shoveled out the gravel, and then the road began to be cleared. Ventilation and dome projects are being opened one by one. The Eastern engineering team used real strength to show what is called Eastern mechanical power, and this is only the first act of the global channel point. When the project started, the whole world's sights were to stay here and look at it. Chapter 435. It's dark now, and off-road vehicles are galloping. Now Rose Valley, the border of the Eagle country, and the city passages are shining. All of them are shining brightly, and the night is just like the day. Now Ying Ziyue has witnessed the great birth process of an urban corridor with her own eyes. The undulating urban passages are like giant caves, spreading from the Eagle country to the Rose country. The border barrier has been opened. Now, 1/3 of the workers involved in the construction are workers from the Rose country, 1/3 are workers from the Eagle country, and the remaining 1/3 are the leaders, project managers, and a robot made by the East. These robots responsible for maintaining order. Once a disturbance occurs, the robot will directly attack. Although this is the Ice Age, this is the Great Age. Everyone is based on big actions and big orders, and if they violate the robot, they will be given a thunder blow. It's also indispensable in this era. It's authority, justice from the East 413. Therefore, on the off-road vehicle, the engineering team in front of you, the construction projects are all harmonious. They are all natural pictures. What kind of experience it is to witness the construction of a huge urban passage. Ying Ziyue was in the off-road vehicle, and he could personally feel the stalwart feeling of connecting the two cities. The surrounding snow-capped mountains and glaciers were all knocked down, leaving only a half-black eternal tunnel, and then began to be connected. After that, the off-road vehicle continued to gallop and came to more than 6,000 islands. The first 5 islands. The current 5 islands are Island Island, Bisland, Steam Island, Point, Steamship Island. Now on these 5 islands, small underground passages are also being built. Dongfang's chain project is magnificent. After Dongfang's official order, an engineering team has already begun. Ying Ziyue watched with satisfaction. When he left, he chose to take a flying chariot. This time he will go to a special place. This is the East military base of Steam Island. Now military bases, automatic protection robots, laser cannon robots, Vulcan Gatling robots, and protective devices to prevent the impact of nuclear weapons are all opened. The captain Zhao, who is in charge of this island, stood straight. His expression is extremely solemn now, because he received the highest Crimson Order. This order represents the coming of Dongfang. Ying Ziyue. As the off-road vehicle came, Ying Ziyue nodded, and then shook hands with Zhao. Report team leader. At this military base, a brand new flying chariot has been parked. Then Zhao, the military leader of Steam Island, spoke up. The report. This is a flying chariot codenamed the Overlord from an island in the Pacific Ocean. There are currently only 3 in the world. These 2 Pacific Guard chariots have 17 types of flying chariots, safety protection devices, as well as 3 types of defense devices, particle impact devices, laser defense devices, etc. Smart devices one by one. The Overlord's flying chariot has a speed of 900 km/h, which is a safer driving speed. Once 4 engines are activated, it will reach 1200 km per hour. If 16 engines are activated, then it will reach 1800 km per hour. But 4 engines and 16 engines are dangerous speeds, and will only start unless they are in combat. At the same time, the flying chariot is equipped with the protection of the global BDAL satellite and the protection of the global moon and Mars, as well as the intelligent warning of the Pacific Maritime Satellite, and so on. Close to 30 areas are protected. All aspects of protection can be achieved. The report is completed. Please team leader use a flying tank. The military team leader's Aoleting finished the introduction. Ying Ziyue nodded with satisfaction. The Eastern Scientific Research Center has made rapid progress. It has made great progress in airship, flying chariots, etc., especially with the 2 technologies of nuclear fission and counterpower, which are completely integrated. Next he goes to a place that is truly worth going. That is the Siberian Eastern Weapons General Test Base. He wants to witness the romance of men, the land of the great sword in the East. Chapter 436. In the current age of severe weather technology, what sound is the most beautiful? The cheers of the crowd, the start of the project. But for Ying Ziyue, the roar of the flying tank engine is the most beautiful. The turbine engine started roaring. Nuclear fission pushed the engine to start. The anti-gravity device started to start. And the swaying starter started one after another. The sky seemed to darken point the flying tank starts to take off. This is the advantage of the Overlord flying tank. It has 3 engines. Even if 2 engines are damaged in the middle, a single engine can still maintain a safe long distance flight. It's hard to imagine in the civilized era, but now, this kind of technological equipment has begun to be manufactured one after another, and at the same time it has become a special mount for the top team leader. Especially the flying chariot has radar sensing waves, which can sense cattle and pterosaurs 1000 kilometers away point, because after the Cambrian life explosion, after the animal explosion, large bad pterosaurs began to appear in the sky. Therefore, the flying tank is equipped with this kind of radar light wave to expel in a short area, because the speed of the flying tank is too fast, and it will directly crush those pterosaurs at a short speed. Every technology in the age of science and technology is completely different from the period of civilization. If a passenger plane in the civilized era hits a bird, the technology engine may burn, damage and fall. But in the technological age, once an airship or flying chariot hits a bird, the bird will be wiped out instantly, because the technological age is equipped with brand new graphene, 2nd generation alloy structures, and super engines. Now, all the pictures have returned to one point, that is, on the steam island military platform, the army green flying chariot makes a bursting roar. Ying Ziyue was in the cabin. He turned on the engine. The co-pilot is the deputy captain Li Hao, but near the airport, all airships and automatic cruise drones are waiting to take off. They are the escort team, because Ying Ziyue's identity is too prudent at present. There are so many unmanned cruisers to protect them. In the cabin, Ying Ziyue began to wear a flying mask, flying earphones, and flying gloves. The flying chariot is a panoramic window, and you can observe the degree and below point at the same time. There is a normal air pressure device inside the flight, which means that there is no need to wear heavy protective clothing. Now Ying Ziyue clicked on the start button, and then the intelligence system quickly turned on. The smart helmet automatically matches the location, flight data of the course, the weather intensity in each area of the wind speed. The flight speed prompts the introduction of power, and the automatic detection and repair of each part of the flying tank, as well as the intelligent conditions of aviation fuel, etc. appeared vividly! 0 fine flowers. The products of civilization in the era of new technology are vividly displayed here. Then the main driver Ying Ziyue watched, and the deputy captain Li Hao then showed a wicked smile. Call the co-pilot, and then we will take the best flying chariot in the current civilization, and then head to the most dangerous and technologically changing area in the world. There you will hear a clear sound. You will hear the sound of laser cannons, all kinds of new shells. Are you ready now? The co-pilot Li Hao nodded, and then pressed the intercom. Receive. At this moment, Ying Ziyue slowly pulled the direction stick. The flying tank activated the anti-power engine. Then it started to take off vertically out of thin air, and there was no half-minute vibration in the cabin. This is the excellent anti-gravity engine. At the same time around the airport, automatic cruising drones, automatic escort robots, automatic cruising flight backpack robots, one by one protective automatic team began to fly into the sky, escorting 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers and 50 kilometers, expelling defense. At this moment, the flying chariot started. Death Chapter 437. The anti-gravity engine was roaring. The nuclear fission engine started to push. It can be seen to the naked eye that the flying chariot of the Overlord is like a UFO, slowly floating to 1500 meters, and then starting to take off, and soar like a swift pterosaur. The flying tank started its speed almost instantaneously and directly produced a sonic boom point, and behind this called a flying chariot, around, ships of army green and red automatic cruising flying robots, automatic cruising drones, global fixed point cruising robots, 4131 after another flying chariots, flying vehicles, drones, and flying robots are all going on. 360-degree defense. At this moment, the airship's height is adjusted to below 1000 meters, because there are not such high buildings in the western region. In the east, it's super architectural, so it's normal for each construction project to exceed 1 kilometer point, but the west is still in the era of steam civilization. There are only 1000 meter high buildings here point except for eastern construction. Westerners have no ability to build buildings over 100 meters tall point because their projects and their scientific research and construction and production machinery were all destroyed, all buried under the glacier. The East has built it as an agricultural and industrial paradise, but has not built it as a sacred scientific research center, so there is no plan to build a tall building here point. So the flying chariot began to go wild. That's super flying. Now the flying chariot is heading quickly. Auto navigation mode is turned on. Open a height of 1000 meters. Ying Ziyue looked at the sky. It was a sea area of more than 6000 islands, huge waves and magnificent oceans, and a wave of waves overlapped the blue ocean, showing a charming charm, except that there was a white mist above the ocean. Just the cold current from the southern glacier and the northern glacier, and in the ocean, a giant whistle sounded. The whistle was the loudest, as if it could travel thousands of miles, even at an altitude of 1000 meters. The flying chariot could hear the whistle point. This is the most equipped and typical technological equipment in the steam age, that is, the steamship, which is one of the most common and the greatest and most technological giant ships. The structure of ore steam is used to build a light steam engine ship, equipped with those shells that can attack pirates. It can be said to be the greatest giant ship in the steam age. There is a smile on Ying Ziyue's mouth. At the same time he looked at more than 6000 islands. He looked at the cities in the Eagle Country and Rose Country. Now, people from these two countries have moved to the ground, and their urban style is still determined by them. It's just that they are all giant cities in the steam age. Stone City, Wood City, and the East are simply equipped with steam pipes. So it looks like they lived in the Victorian period, but they do not have the sophistication and elegance of the Victorian period point. But the world guarantees the simplest and most basic survival. But there is no shortage of food, and they all have no shortage of work. So life is comfortable and content. Flying on this continent, you can really feel the change of time. No one would have thought that there would have been an industrial revolution and so on during the civilization period. There will be outbreaks of scientific research again and again, but now, the West has completely become the center of agricultural industry. The smile on Ying Ziyue's mouth was arranged by him, and now he is very satisfied with this change. In the co-pilot, Xihai also spoke excitedly. Leader of the report, the West is now in the middle of the steam age. They are equipped with steam horses and all the equipment for steam civilization. It can be said that their scientific research was completely stopped due to disasters. At the same time, the people in the West enjoy this era because Victoria the period is extremely fascinating, especially the steam pipes and snow country trains we have equipped. Life here looks extremely peaceful, so the Western layout is extremely successful. As the speed of the flying tank increases, the picture now begins to change. Has become the Western Eagle Country, Rose Country and more than 6000 islands. The picture flies over the main cities. It has become an agricultural greenhouse and an industrial area. A majestic place. Chapter 438. The picture at the moment has indeed changed. That is, there are many undulating agricultural greenhouses, neatly arranged, and extremely majestic buildings, and a piece of plant greenhouses and vegetable greenhouses all appear. In the center of these greenhouses is the western steam city point. A large shed is like a guardian, or more like monitoring these steamy cities. The greenhouse adopts a fully enclosed structure, but there are rich plant life inside, as well as countless poultry and crops. Even on the airship, Ying Ziyue can feel this life fluctuation point at the same time. Around the large zero-to shed, which is a street with ice and snow, a piece of lighthouse stands, and next to these lighthouses are the bright flowers, which were cultivated in the Ice Age. The cold-proof flowers, which can protect against some extreme cold. For example, the roses of the Ice Age, the rose flowers of the Ice Age, the rhododendrons, etc. These words are all blooming brightly. They are bigger than the civilized world, and they look like a sea of flowers, beautiful to the limit point. Then came the project of the Eagle Nation. This is a truly majestic factory that can be called a majestic factory. The area of the factory is so huge that you look like a military bunker from the factory point. Every factory has a faint smoke, and only the use of safe degradation test substances means that this kind of smoke will gradually fade into the sky, and it will have a very low impact on the pollution of the earth. This is what Ying Ziyue requires. He doesn't even need the scientific research team to spend a lot of manpower to make this kind of smoke treatment device, because in the future, the earth on which humans live is extremely important, so it is necessary to maintain its environment. Looking down from the sky, if the undulating vegetable greenhouses are like slices of caves, then the factory in front of you is more like the steam age, the most complete explosion. The factories are neatly arranged. The industrial corridors are built straight, and small cargo vehicles and other vehicles are all appearing one after another at the same time. Pieces of materials are being transported. There are countless plastics, steel, textiles, fuels, daily crops and scientific research crops, engineering crops, office crops, precision instrument crops, etc. All factories in production all appear here. This is also the last scene in the west, because the flying chariot is extremely fast and is about to start moving away from the west point. Now the flying tank has flown out of the west. This time the picture below is a piece of sea, which is also the world's 5 oceans. It's just that when viewed from below, at a height of 2,000 meters, the entire area has extremely bad weather, and the flying tank is also through the hail and tyrannical land. At the same time, Ying Ziyue also saw a thunderstorm area at the main driving position point. I saw that in some areas of thunder and lightning. Countless lightnings were roaring badly. The cold wind and other prompt wind speed prompts are prompting. But the flying tank does not appear to be dangerous, because thunderstorms like this kind of weather are extremely common in the Ice Age, and the flying tank has long been used to flying in this weather, so it is fearless. So if someone can stand on top of the flying chariot, they will find that the flying chariot is like a green eagle, rushing into the thunderstorm field quickly and quickly. It started galloping in countless lightning bolts. The anti-gravity device, the nuclear fusion 413 device, and the 4 major engine devices were all turned on. So a lightning flash appeared in the thunderstorm, and then faced countless lightning, rushing wildly at extreme speed. Those thunder and lightning slashing flying chariots, but they have no effect at all, come from the defense shell of the special structure and the special alloy defense shell, which have excellent protection capabilities with the ability to avoid water and fire. It can be said that only a slight vibration was felt in the cabin. Sitting in the cabin, passing through the thunderstorm area, watching countless thunder and lightning, what Ying Ziyue can feel is spectacular. It's the magnificent being in extreme weather. He enjoyed this epic scene so much. Why would it be said that he seemed to be born for this era? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 439. Now visible to the naked eye, the blizzard is howling to the extreme. Thunder seems to be hacking everything. A flying chariot traverses everything, through the thunderstorm zone, and through countless lightning zones. This is just the beginning, because then various drones, unmanned cruisers, unmanned escorts and flying robots are ordered and escorted, and then headed towards Siberia. At that time, in the western cities, the high-ranking people in the west, they are all watching a scene in the sky, watching more than 1,000 meters in the sky, snowflakes flying, watching the small black dots passing through the thunderstorm area. This is the main city of the Rose Nation. Above the city wall, Eric is not only looking at the dapping, he is also looking at the flying chariot. Eric looked at the back of the flying chariot with protective robots and autonomous flying chariots. He knew that in the current world, only one person could have such a big identity point behind Eric are the leaders of the East one by one, as well as the high-level leaders of the Eagle Nation. How far is Dongfang, one of the Eagle Nation? An old official spoke. He was a high-level person in the civilization period, and finally became immortal, but then he was transferred to a high-level position. Now he is a little sluggish watching this scene, because he seems to have changed a world, as if he has come to a new world. Eric was silent for a moment. He pointed to the greenhouses, vegetable greenhouses, poultry greenhouses, agricultural greenhouses, planting greenhouses, flowers, birds, fish and insects in front of him. Then he pointed to the steam engine ships in front of him, steam train, steam wagons, steam pipes, and those earthen wooden houses that look a little rough. The early civilization of Victoria began to unfold here, and it seems to have a slight sense of technology, but Eric just smiled bitterly, and he pointed to Dongfang again. These two areas are like a comparison of an area that cannot be traversed by a 100,000 mountain. The East has entered the life level of scientific research civilization at a high speed. They started the Cambrian explosion. Their cities evolved into science and technology. From the steam age to the city of steel, to the city of science and technology, they are now moving towards the last step, that is the global channel is open. Then his voice became even more bleak, because he knew that this gap was too great, and even if countless geniuses appeared in the West, it would not be able to make up, or, in other words, would never be able to fight against the great achievements made by this man in front of him. At this moment, the old official was also silent. He just watched the scene in front of him quietly, feeling complicated. It's not just Eric standing on the walls of the Eagle Nation Point Rose country, beside the 200-meter high ice and snow statue of the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is standing majestically, holding a torch in her hand, representing a symbol of freedom and love. And in front of the statue, a steam city with a scale of tens of millions also stands here. Pieces of mid-Victorian buildings are undulating. The buildings here are slightly better than those in the Eagle country, because the manager here is Alex Robb, an ambitious young man. His thinking is very fast. He turned the soil, houses, and wooden houses here into churches. It has become a hall, an exhibition hall, gymnasium, and people's residence. At the same time, it has opened up a trading system in the urban area and so on. It can be said that this is to build the civilization of the early days of the Rose Kingdom. But now, in front of the Statue of Liberty, Alex looked at the sky, and he also heard the sound of thunderstorms. He saw it. The flying chariot crossed the thunderstorm field, saw countless flying robots with automatic defense. He was extremely complicated at this moment, and he was the enchanting man again. Chapter 440. At this moment, beside Alex Robb, the old officials are persuading him. Alex Robb, you have shown a unique talent for management since you were a child. You are also a Western and rare genius. However, you must not have any emotions when facing the East. The old official is called Maurice in the civilized period. He used to be the manager of a region, mainly managing commerce and food. Now, she is the manager of the City of Liberty, and he is also the best teacher of Alex Robb. Now he smiled bitterly in Alex Robb. He knew that the young man in front of him had great execution, and his ambition was to build the greatest civilization after the disaster century. But the old official just smiled bitterly. He looked at the factories in front of Rose Country and watched the already formed industries go away. Countless people were going to the factories spontaneously. The robot gods of the East created a complete system. No one will destroy this system, because everyone must survive, because the Rose Kingdom is still in the middle of the steam civilization. Maris smiled bitterly, then he spoke to Alex Robb. This is the layout of the East. Whether you are experienced or shocked, you have to admit that they have really reached the limit. Whether the Rose Country or the Eagle Country, all agricultural industries have been finalized. Our finalization is the land of heavy industry, the land of factories, and the era of steam civilization. This is the character that the man in the East gave us, and we must also follow this label to survive. Otherwise, while talking about Maris, there is a complicated possibility here in the sky, because he thought of no fewer than 1,000 weapon plans in the East Point. Some people are too terrifying. They just exist, enough to frighten anyone. Now the City of Liberty is still the same as it was during the Steam Age. You must know that the Rose Flower inherited 70% of the things from the Victorian period. Point to be precise. It is very complicated. It is a fusion of geocentric civilization and Victorian steam style. The architecture and the assistance of the East make it an extremely weird place of industrial steam. Point. The Statue of Liberty still stands tall, with a humane light, and the light of freedom and love seems to shine on every area of the world. Point. And the thunderstorm clouds and lightning bad weather in the sky began to fade, and then began to disappear. But the torrent from the southern glacier struck again, and when I saw the sky was covered with white mist, Alec Robb closed his eyes again. He could not imagine being in the cold wave called Absolute Zero in the Ice Age. Point. How did Dongfeng's Ying Ziyue fight it? He only knew that in the memories of those old people, the East had built the City of Steel, saw no less than hundreds of defense methods, and then reluctantly responded. Now, Alex Robb is standing in front of the Statue of Liberty. He bows slightly. He is a believer. Thinking of this, Alex smiled bitterly, because he knew it when he saw the cold current. There was a fear in his heart. This fear made him know how far he was from the leader of the East. Point. That man. He not only conquered the first wave of the absolute cold wave of the Ice Age, but also conquered the next plate collisions and so on, which in turn was called a nightmare disaster. This is truly a nightmare man. As if there is nothing to fear in front of him. Behind Alex Robb, the old official Maris smiled bitterly and looked at the child in a particularly distressed manner. To be precise, he was in the Rose Country Hall of Fame for decades. He had never seen this kind of gifted child. It's just a pity that he and Ying Ziyue of the East for a period of time, and then was crushed crazily. Point. Thinking of this, the old man sighed faintly. He looked at the East. He really couldn't imagine how much power the East had combined to bring together this kind of outstanding people who truly condensed several eras, the most outstanding people of our time. Chapter 441. This is the Pacific Ocean Center at this moment! 1,600 meters above the area, an army green flying chariot flew past. The sound of breaking through the sky and the sound of sonic boom came from the sky. It was a very fast sound. Ying Ziyue looked through the window of the plane, and now he has flown over the west, and when he flew over the Pacific, he looked at the west, as if he had seen it for 2 centuries now. In the west, after turning it into agriculture and heavy industry in the east, it has indeed regained its vitality again. But the civilization here has also been completely finalized for the sake of steam civilization. So if you look down over the Pacific Ocean, you will see that the Western Rose Country has become an marine agricultural greenhouse. At the same time, on those roads are all the flowers and plants of the Ice Age, a large area of trees, and the forest begins. One after another, it can be said that the Eagle Country has been completely built into an agricultural land, which will become a sea of forest plants, swamps and so on. Point. As for the Country of Roses, it has become tougher, because steel factories have appeared one by one. Lighthouses appeared. There are many biochemical factories, experimental engineering experimental factories, textile factories and other factories in the east. So you can see that rosehips are more equipped with a steam mechanical style, and even they seem to have become a mechanical assembly line. The whole country is like this. As for the 6,000 islands in the world, the top 10 islands in the world have become agricultural islands and industrial islands. Now Ying Ziyue can still see a steam engine ship moving forward in those pieces of sea. The steamship is not fast, but it is huge and can transport a large amount of materials. At the same time, a large swath of smoke is blowing in the sky. The steamship is whistling and then heading to major western islands to start agricultural and commercial cooperation. Li Hao, the co-pilot engineer, spoke in the earphones, and now his voice carried the worship of Ying Ziyue. Because he was the only one who witnessed Ying Ziyue's making the West into an integrated industrial and agricultural land, it can be said that this is completely qualitative, no matter whether it is 100 years or 1000 years. There will be no changes, because the layout here has been destined. It has been beaten in the hearts of every teenager, young and old. What is the team leader's overall layout for the West next? Or what is the definition for them? Engineer Li Hao finished speaking. Ying Ziyue smiled. He faintly looked in the direction of the west, and then said, in the Ice Age, they used to be known as underground castles and underground civilizations, but then their civilization failed, and they became iron civilizations, not as good as steam civilizations. We helped them, and became the center of industry and machinery. Next, the East will make every effort to develop scientific research and future human technology and even some superhuman technology. Zero fine flowers, and in the Western countries, islands will become global supply centers. They will supply global food, global mechanical sewing clothes and so on. When Ying Ziyue said this, he narrowed his eyes and smiled with an elegant smile. So the East can do the next thing brand new. That is, it can devote all its energy to scientific research in biology, medicine, space, etc., one by one in high intelligence fields. At this moment when Ying Ziyue finished speaking, the engineer Li Hao had a thorough understanding of the layout of Nuoda. At this moment, the chronicles of the Ice River history records appeared, and detailed information appeared. At 12:09 on June 1, 23rd of the Ice Age, Ying Ziyue of the East left the West in a flying chariot. Since then, a new situation has been opened in the world. The West has been completely stereotyped as a land of industrial machinery, while the East has entered the unknown. The era of unknown territory is called the year of the glacier apocalypse. Death chapter 442. Now the flying chariot is flying in the center of the Pacific Ocean. Ying Ziyue began to adjust her speed slowly, and her normal flight speed dropped from 800 km per hour to 70 km per hour. This is already an extremely low speed. The three major engines, the anti-gravity engine, the nuclear fission propulsion engine, and the smart turbo engine, have all begun to supply, so the speed has increased to the most stable state point. This means that at a speed of 70 km per hour, the driver can't feel any movement, and can see the clearest place in the picture. Any 4 to 7 area point. Now Ying Ziyue only wants to feel the Pacific Ocean Center. To be precise, this is his first visit to the Pacific Ocean Center. I saw that the Pacific Ocean Center has received the news from the team leader that the smart laser cannons are in automatic defense point. At the same time, the Taiping Sea Center covers a total of nearly 800 kilometers, so the naked eye can see countless icebreakers, as well as maritime aircraft carriers, sea ships, all roaring and appearing like a whale, heading toward major regions around the world, and some icebreakers are conducting scientific and technological investigations, marine surveys, and some are recording life animals that broke out in the Cambrian. Some icebreakers carry out escort patrols, and some icebreakers choose to go to the world for industrial and agricultural transportation, etc. One by one, it can be said that Taiping Ocean Center is truly going to the world. The bottom of the Pacific Ocean Center adopts the structure of floating islands, so this piece is close to 800 kilometers, and all areas have been completed. Even under the pressure of super large tsunami, earthquake, etc., there will be no danger. The co-pilot Li Hao introduced in detail, because he participated in the setting of this plan too clearly, the advantages of each of the Pacific Islands. The leader first. The Pacific Islands currently has the first aircraft carrier with a total of 23,240 ships. At the same time, there are more than 200,000 icebreakers. As for the scientific research team, there are thousands of them. At the same time, the Ocean Center has a maritime strategic missile launch center. Close to 20 kinds of weapons defense and strike strength. At the same time, the total number of troops here is 100,000 maritime robots, 100,000 flying robots, and 100,000 Eastern soldiers. After the introduction by the engineer Li Hao, Ying Ziyue nodded with satisfaction. This is the strength of the Taiwan Ocean Center. This is like a real forbidden land in the Pacific Ocean, with extremely terrifying capabilities. Very good. The real area we should go next. Ying Ziyue's eyes were deep, and then the speed of the flying chariot began to increase. As Ying Ziyue began to leave the Pacific Islands, the security defense mechanism was lifted, and then entered an attack state. A patch of hideous missiles appeared, and the icebreaker appeared to be attacking. This is the power of the Pacific Ocean Center. At this moment, it can be seen with the naked eye that the flying chariot is starting to enter Siberia. At the same time, the temperature here has also begun to drop sharply. You must know that the current average temperature in the world is -50 degrees, but it began to drop rapidly after coming here. -52 degrees, -55 degrees, -60 degrees, -63 degrees, -65 degrees, -70 degrees, when it reached -70 degrees. Ying Ziyue knew why Siberia was so terrifying. You must know that during the civilization period, there was the coldest temperature in the world, the coldest village in the world. But now this is the Weapon Experiment Center of the East, the Mineral Resources Development Center. Co-pilot engineering Li Hao introduced Zero, leader of the report. Siberia is currently the test center for anti-gravity weapons of the Eastern strategy. As for the more powerful lasers and other weapons, it tests the meteor swarms and distant stars in the universe. It can be said that Siberia is just a small weapon test base. The real largest weapon experiment base is the universe, because the military we control is now extremely terrifying. Ying Ziyue nodded. This was like the demeanor of a big country. Even though the military power of the Ice Age was still the peak, it even spanned several eras. Chapter 443. Now as the flying chariot enters the periphery of Siberia, Ying Ziyue has stopped advancing, because the flying chariot has activated the defense mechanism, and Siberia is undergoing its first weapon test. A prompt appears on the main screen of the flying tank. The first area is located at the Siberian latitude, and is located in the southwest corner. The current altitude is 1700 meters. The pressure is 0.977. The current wind speed is 19 meters per second. And the current extreme snowstorm weather. The current temperature is -70 degrees. Siberia is conducting a 0.235 level particle strike. And the strike dimension is at the 92.7 latitude meteorite cave. Currently, the position of the flying chariot is in a safe position, but in order to prevent radiation, please turn on the defense mechanism. This is the Overlord level flying tank reminder function. Ying Ziyue clicked the defense button. At this moment, a layer of red halo protection appeared in front of the flying chariot. This is a brand new projection, intelligent defense mechanism. At the same time, a test plan for the Oriental particle weapon at the moment appeared in front of Ying Ziyue's screen. I saw the roar of a 100-meter long launching barrel on the launch pad, and a round missile-like shell fell directly into a deep pit cave. This is a small particle missile. At this moment, it was located within 10 kilometers of the deep pit. All the rocks first heard an erase sound, and then almost instantly all the rocks were crushed instantly and directly turned into debris like broken soil. This scene is extremely terrifying, because the sound of the explosion is not loud, as if it is a bang, but all the objects within 10 kilometers are shattered. At the same time, there was a ripple in front of the flying tank, and a turbulent sound came out. Ripples show that the impact is -0.1, which is a slight shock wave, and a radiation impact is 0.2, which is a slight radiation shock wave. The flying tank is currently at a safe angle. At the same time, the second prompt appears on the screen while flying. At present, the angle and latitude of northwestern Siberia is 29.6, and a new laser shockwave test is underway. This time it is a major dangerous weapon shockwave. The current shockwave's dimension is the extremely solid meteorite body in the center of the cave in the 0.7 to 0.9 area, which can be hundreds of times larger than the alloy structure. The impact is about to be carried out now. The flying tank has activated automatic defense, the satellite screen has been connected, and the laser shock screen appears, accompanied by the sound of the launch pad. This moment is an absolutely shocking picture. Ying Ziyue is also excited now, because he looks at the laser launch impact station on the main screen. This is an automatic launch of laser shock bombs. The laser launch shock station is similar to an energy storage shell, which is charged with energy one after another. Then the laser shock station has a huge explosion sound point. Then a bright blue laser rushed towards a cave. At this moment all the air is carried. Electric ions. Above the ground, the gravel on the ground and glacier ice and snow all melt instantly. This is the residual temperature of the laser shock wave. Even the residual temperature can instantly crush the area where 417 is moving. As for this laser, it rushed directly into the depths of the cave, and then there was a bursting sound, and the cave was directly cracked open, and turned into a shiankeng point. Then the super hard meteorite became crushed, and the laser shock wave is still blasting piece by piece within 100 kilometers. The continuous random laser impact blasting sound, piece by piece icebergs shattered and collapsed, and a lot of ice and snow melted instantly. This is the weapon testing center, which is also one of the most powerful places in the East. Ying Ziyue nodded with satisfaction. This is like the military power of the East. Whether it is a small particle strike or a laser percussion gun, this is the display of the military power of the East. Chapter 444. Now with the completion of the two tests, the first is a small particle test, and the second is a laser weapon test, over the Siberian border, Ying Ziyue's flying chariot activated two levels of defense mechanisms, and after the weapon test was completed, Siberia also activated the defensive device. That is, the initial test of the weapon was completed. Now the flying chariot is heading towards the Siberian main base to the Siberian main base, which is located in the core area of northern Siberia. This is a rolling military base with a total of nearly 800 kilometers. Although the blizzard has reached its limit, the extreme weather has reached its limit point. The best weather in Siberia is a blizzard, which is also the most normal weather. It is a combination of severe weather, such as blizzards, hail, thunderstorms, and other extremely severe weather such as tornadoes, but this does not affect the existence of Eastern civilization in the slightest. The flying chariot flies at an altitude of 200 meters, and is an automatic induction slow flying device. Because it has entered the military area of Siberia. Point in the cabin, I saw lighthouses one after another. The basic height of these lighthouses is 200 meters high. The flying chariot seems to float over from above, and he can clearly see the towering appearance of each lighthouse. The lighthouse was shining brightly, and looked extremely sacred. Ying Ziyue showed a relaxed smile. Point in front of the Siberian military district, rows of automatic guard robots have appeared. Point at the same time, all the administrators and guards of the military area appeared. Everyone was wearing winter clothes, and saluting in the snowstorm toward the protagonist manager. Everyone stood upright, exuding a heroic and capable temperament. Ying Ziyue nodded, and then he saluted. Point. After getting off the flying car, the Siberian team leader took Ying Ziyue to the Siberian Weapon Center. The director of the report is the Xihai Weapon Center. There are nearly 27 weapons that have been successfully tested. Only the weapons have been successfully tested many times. Orbital strikes. Captain Siberia finished speaking, and then took out the weapon information. For example, the 27th ranked small particle device can cause small-scale vibrations within 10 kilometers, with extremely low sound, but all areas within 10 kilometers are crushed, and the particle shock wave paper can also be upgraded to super particle strike. At the same time, there is also a laser shock device. The laser weapon is ranked 20th in the weapon rankings. The laser shock device is a fully intelligent device, which means that once it is activated, large energy can be absorbed, followed by shocking energy supplementation, and then energy bombing. The anti-gravity shock device, which ranks among the top 3 weapons in the East, uses anti-gravity shock waves to bombard an area in a smashing manner. an area will disappear and shatter in an instant, and finally form an intangible body floating in the air. As for the second place, it is called electromagnetic light wave. Many movies and TV dramas appeared in the civilization period, but now the real money in the East is in reality, which is the electromagnetic shock created by human science and nature. This dangerous and destructive is extremely high. Each area is as high as thousands of kilometers. Can cause a large area of regional blasting plate to shake a large earthquake, which means that thousands of kilometers of earthquakes occur at the same time and their terrible price. As for the military secrets ranked first, Ying Ziyue only read the information, and he stopped talking, made Ziyue, because he does not want humans to use this item. This is horrible. This is a blow to the galaxy arms. After the observation, he nodded in satisfaction. The Siberian Arms Hall is also extremely sci-fi, possessing truthful intelligence points despite the extreme bad weather outside. I don't feel the slightest chill here. It seems to be the residence of a quiet giant city. Ying Ziyue nodded in satisfaction. This is one of the confidants of the East Point. This is the Eastern Spear, Glacial Spear. Chapter 445. July 1. 23rd year of the Ice Age. Ying Ziyue spent a month in Siberia, because this is the Eastern Earth Weapons Test Base. It is about the Eastern's weapons reserves, so he stayed for a month, and he observed the performance of each weapon in detail. The test of each weapon can be said to be from the birth of a weapon, the test explosion finalization, and the process of being stockpiled, and so on, all in his line of sight, because in the next thousands of years, the Earth does not know what era it will enter. Even if the Earth goes out of the dense galaxy, it may usher in unknown development. It may be the confrontation of unknown civilization, or it may be the development of new civilization, so a large number of weapons must be stockpiled. This is a necessary reserve for a first-class civilization. Finally, at 12 AM on July 1st, there was no time to say this in Siberia, because in fact, the night here is still grey and white, endless blizzards, endless thunderstorms. This sky will be illuminated endlessly. The weather in West Siberia from beginning to end, even for thousands of years. When the blizzard comes, there is only one weather here, that is, grey, eternal grey. But now the center of Siberia is known as the forbidden zone for mankind, the most terrifying area in the Ice Age, and the place of pits one by one. Here there are steel military districts, and red flags are flying. This is smart graphene. The temperament of the structure, even in the environment of -70 degrees, is not only half frozen, rigid, etc. Therefore, the naked eye can clearly see the flags flying, and rows of alloy armored robots gather in rows. These robots are perfect in all metal shape. Each robot is 3 meters high, and is equipped with protective flying, water entry and other capabilities. Nearly 20,000 robots are lined up in a row, waiting for the Dongfang leader to evacuate point at the same time. The captain also salutes. Ying Ziyue nodded. Now he is the patroller, because when he comes again, then I don't know how many years and days it is the roar of the engine came from. The flying tank again. At this moment, nuclear fission pushed the counter power to push the engine, and the 3 major pushes were activated at the same time. The speed of the flying chariot instantly reached 1,200 kilometers per hour. At this moment, the target of the flying chariot was the South Pole. After more than half a year, Ying Ziyue's new goal is to come to the South Pole again. Starting from Siberia, according to the normal orbit, it will pass through the Eagle Country, Rose Country. If it follows the ocean orbit, it will pass through the Pacific offshore platform. However, Ying Ziyue adopts a new route, which is to proceed directly along the northern hemisphere countries, which means it will fly along a piece of island country. The co-pilot Li Hao made a report. The report team leader is currently positioned as the Antarctic Scientific Research Station. The latitude is northwest, latitude 8.76. The Antarctic Scientific Research Station has received our upcoming news. At present, Nanjing has opened the defense and protection mechanism. At the same time, the automatic navigation is turned on, the automatic positioning is turned on, and the automatic danger awareness has been turned on. Next, the world will enter a new area. Please prepare. Ying Ziyue also quickly clicked the engine start buttons one by one on the main interface point engine launch button. At this moment, the flying chariot has 3 layers of defensive auras, and each layer of defensive auras represents 3 levels, and the 3-layer defensive halo represents the hardest and richest thing on Earth. Any obstruction, any deadly high temperature and absolute zero can't break through the defense of the tank. And the tank can be supported for nearly 3 hours under such harsh conditions. Now wearing a flying mask and flying sunglasses, detailed data appears in the sunglasses. Through the panoramic glass window, Ying Ziyue looked out the window. As the flying chariot became faster and faster, he saw a piece of islands under him. These are islands that appeared because of the collision of plates. The islands were dotted with the ocean, with this blue earth. And at the forefront of the island, it is a grey foggy land, which looks like a restricted area. Outside the foggy land, there is no island, no ship, as if there is a forbidden land, but there, it is the legendary Antarctica, the land of southern glaciers. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 446. The South Glacier is also called Antarctica, and there are too many records about it in ancient times, but in the Ice Age, the memory held here is despair, especially for the people of the Eagle Country and the Rose Country. The cold current from the southern glacier really swept the southern and northern hemispheres, and the terrifying cold current here swallowed a piece of it. An area, which is why the West chose the bunker text and underground civilization point. This is the moment Ying Ziyue sees that when in the middle of the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere will be overcast, as if this place has become a world by itself. This world is Antarctica. In this world, any signs and civilizations of human beings are all covered under the ice layer. The Noah's Ark, underground escape and other plans prepared by nearby countries have all failed and are all frozen, and the nearby island countries have also evacuated. It can be said that the hundreds of nearby islands are abandoned islands, because as long as they are close to the Antarctic, it means absolute danger, which means encountering endless blizzards and cold currents, and the collapse of tsunami icebergs, and deadly threats such as underwater sports. This is the forbidden area, a forbidden area in the true sense of the earth. But now under this heavy snow and thunderous weather, a flying chariot is tearing everything apart and breaking through the sky. At this moment, the flying chariot showed great power and began to drive into this grey forbidden land. Li Hao, the co-pilot engineer, looked at the sacred scene before him. He had seen this area countless times with smart projections, but now it is the first time that he has come to Nanbing in the true sense, so he spoke with excitement. Leader of the report, I have heard of this place during the civilization period. It was developed into a tourist attraction by humans. Although it is still dangerous, it is not so scary, but in the Ice Age, this place has gradually become a place of truly terrifying cold currents, the highest iceberg in the world, the highest snow mountain in the world, and the most dangerous scenic lost place in the world. There is a path that can make any fighter icebreaker in the world lose its way. There are also the most dangerous cold waves here. Some have reached more than -100 degrees cold waves, and at the same time submarine volcanoes and a fatal danger, especially the most terrifying wind and snow. Once the wind and snow lose any scientific research equipment, it will not be effective. If you can't finish September, you will die if the food is too hot. But when the co-pilot Li Hao said here, his mouth was smiling. That was a proud smile. Not only him, Ying Ziyue also had a smile on his face, because for them, they saw the power of being together. This power can be called unity, because the red flag appeared in front of the two of them! Zero fine flowers. Now Ying Ziyue spoke. His voice is tougher and more like a violent wind, and he starts quickly in the main driving. Propelled by the 3 major flying engines in this extremely bad and grey weather, the flying chariot shuttles through the thunder and blizzard like a giant dragon, and Ying Ziyue's voice is in a proud album. As if it is docking with this world. Zero lost in the wind and snow, blizzards, collapsed icebergs, undersea stimulus, and compass failure have all been crushed by flying chariots. Dongfang has told the world what Dongfang technology is. As for the protagonist's voice, he was even more proud. He spoke, but there is no place that is dangerous for the other party, and there is no absolutely dangerous situation, because all we have to do is to conquer one attraction one by one, and then we tell the world that in theory we are forbidden. At this moment, the blizzard is roaring, and the thunder weather is complicated. The snow-capped mountains are cracking, and the cold currents are losing every direction point. But, the voice of the East, the flag of the East is planted on the top of every snow-capped mountain. This is unity. This is the power of the East. Death chapter 447. Now belongs to the middle area of Antarctica 1 here as a whole. This has gone beyond the periphery. It has entered the depths of Antarctica, and at the same time it is completely like another piece of heaven and earth. That is, it is grey all day. There is no sunlight here, no shining. There was only a faint fog left in the whole film, and the flying chariot opened a 3-layer defense, which was activated by automatic induction. Which shows how bad the environment here is. Ying Ziyue's eyes are complicated. He knows that these faint mists of April 20th look like normal white mist, but in fact they are not. This is the mist that will condense when the cold reaches the extreme. It is called the cold current of Beidou below zero. People in cold-proof clothing will start to freeze instantly when they encounter this weapon. Even cold-proof clothing cannot protect it, unless it is a top-level cold-proof clothing. But the top-level cold-proof clothing did not last for a long time, because this weapon has a great wind speed. Like a tornado, it will entrain people in it, then swallow it, then submerge the wind and snow, and finally be buried in the glacier thousands of miles. This is also one of the reasons for the extinction of this area point at present. Only the bunkers in the east, graphene and other protective structures for flying chariots can survive. It can be seen how bad this is, however, as the speed of the flying tank is getting faster and faster. The icebergs crossing in front of you are getting bigger and bigger. At the same time, the wind and snow are getting denser and the visibility is getting worse and worse. The flying tank starts automatic navigation, automatic positioning, and automatic. The 360-degree lights began to shine, directly illuminating any area within 500 meters, any piece of sky. At the same time, every mountain now has an oriental temperament inserted, until entering the depths of Antarctica. At this moment, behind the largest iceberg, an Antarctic military base close to 30 kilometers appeared, also known as the Antarctic Scientific Research Station. The entire Antarctic Scientific Research Station is similar to a circular building. The first layer is a protective wall, and the second layer is a panoramic protective dome. It is similar to a giant dome directly built within 30 kilometers, which looks like a pot. Cover. This base is covered, and it is fully enclosed. The graphene floating material is used as the foundation for the underground, and the dome protection mechanism is used on the ground, and then they are united to form a mobile scientific research base. In this area, in the worst center of Antarctica, only this kind of architecture can exist and allow humans to survive. Now more than a dozen red flags are flying over the research station. At the same time, the robots of the Antarctic Research Station are so huge, a single robot will be 20 meters high and burly in shape. There are a dozen robotic arms in total. They are responsible for detection, scientific research, public security, air survey, and geological survey. But now there are nearly 100 of these giant robots standing in a row, and at the same time, in front of the base, in front of the cold wind, the staff of the Antarctic Scientific Research Station. They all stand up. Everyone wears a cold-proof suit. This is the top-level cold-proof suit. The innermost part uses smart silk and a special graphene second-generation structure. It can be said that a cold-proof suit is extremely expensive. Everyone is saluting now. The Antarctic Scientific Research Station has nearly 1,000 giant protective scientific research robots, this small laser launch platform, and hundreds of scientific researchers, each of whom is an old Oriental scientific research professor. Everyone is saluting. Upon seeing this scene, Ying Ziyue nodded in relief. Some people were stationed at the border. They guarded the peace of the great country, and they guarded everything. The group of people in front of them are the respectable scientists. Finally, he clicked the down button of the flying tank. In the flying chariot, the 3 engines began to gradually slow down the power, and then the flying car began to slowly descend with the sound of jets. Then the cabin door opened, and Ying Ziyue put on the winter clothes just in the ice and snow. In one lays quiet tsunami. This moment belongs to 2 eras. 2 people who are for the country, and the people salute at the same time. Chapter 448. Subsequently, the head of the Antarctic Research Station is currently Zhang Daqiang. He is 57 years old this year. He was in charge of Antarctica during the civilization period, and then wearing protective headphones. He introduced Ying Ziyue, report team leader. This is the depths of Antarctica, and it is also the first group of scientific research stations in the world. While talking that, a group of people walked into the scientific research center. After entering the base, it seemed to enter a sci-fi area, because it was completely enclosed, and it was all smart residential areas, mining areas, development areas, scientific research areas, etc. An area. It is equipped with graphene heating and air supply, heating and other food supplies. It can be said that 02 is equipped, especially 15, breeding area, planting area, to ensure fresh food. At the same time, the captain, Zhang Daqiang, was also introducing. At present, the Antarctic Research Station is located at 92.999 deep in the Antarctic. It can be said to be an extremely dangerous area. When it was built, the number was abandoned. It can be said that it is extremely difficult to approach thousands of airships. Great effect. Zhao Qiang was not only talking about him, but also quickly brought Ying Ziyue to the main center of the Antarctic Research Station. It was extremely difficult to enter here. 3 procedures are required, which are trace test, blood test, appearance test, but after entering, I directly saw a 500 square meter hall. In the hall, there are all intelligent projections. The projections are all regional images. One region, any area in the world, whether it is 5 oceans or 7 continents, or any piece of island, or any uninhabited city. Lines of global surveillance intelligent data also appear in HD. Eagle country, latitude northern hemisphere. The current weather is -50 degrees, the wind speed is 3 per second, and the pressure is 720.29. There are small geological hazards in the southwest, but there are no traces of human settlement in the southwest, so the risk is determined to be 0.5. Rose country, latitude 86.26 in the northern hemisphere. The current weather is -50 degrees, the wind speed is 3.2 per second. The pressure is 9. There are traces of tornado attacks, and the track has been registered to remind the factor is in the area to defend. In the uninhabited area of the southwest of the east, there are currently small icebergs collapsing, and the collapse of the horizontal street is about 5 earthquakes. At present, only traces of lighthouses have been found in the local area, and no traces of civilization have been found, but the relevant areas have been reminded. At present, there is a tsunami attack in the Mars area of Africa. I still have to go from the southwest to the northern sea. The current speed is 17 meters per second. The current risk is determined to be level B. The local protection and icebreaker protection have been reminded. This moment, on those smart interfaces, one by one, geological information, scientific information, and scientific research information are all appearing amazingly. Every area, every forbidden area 428 can be said that the detailed changes of air pressure, air temperature, area, earthquake, tornado, tsunami, volcano, ocean wave, etc. are all combined. Here is the real monitoring of the Earth's pulsation, the life of the Earth. Ying Ziyue watched with satisfaction. He is standing in the hall now, surrounded by various weather monitors, pictures, introductions, trends, and detailed patterns. This is the role of the Antarctic Research Station. In the global temperature, the most dangerous is still the world's 5 major regions, that is, the Antarctic Scientific Research Station, Siberia, Mount Everest, Africa, and the Pacific Ocean Center. But now, these belong to the land of the East. Chapter 449. What does it mean to truly manage everything on the Earth? Now in the 500 square meter hall in the center of the conference room of the Antarctic Scientific Research Station, there have been panoramic screen projections one by one. These are high-tech projections, equipped with advanced technology, humans and other intelligent civilizations. The projection screen covers the southern glaciers and northern glaciers, 6,000 islands in the west, and every piece of water, the Rose Country, the Eagle Country, any area in the east or west, any piece of volcanoes, and all the geological and landforms have been recorded. It can be said that this 500 square meter hole, the projection that appears, the picture is similar to the weather situation of the Earth. At the same time, in any area, any upcoming geological disasters are quickly detected. The detected information comes from the Gemini satellite 26,000 kilometers away from the Earth. This Gemini satellite is an atmospheric satellite launched by the East in the 15th year of the Ice Age, mainly for detecting weather, detecting geological changes, ocean fluctuations, and so on. Point after the launch of the Gemini satellites, Glacier has been in use since 18 years. And now, it is the real unity of the Gemini satellites, and the Antarctic Scientific Research Station really broke out, really showing what is meant by monitoring the Earth area. Now behind Ying Ziyue, Zhang Daqiang, the head of the Antarctic Research Station, salutes excitedly, leader of the report. The Antarctic Scientific Research Station has now entered a complete management process, which means that, once the Earth is out of the dense galaxy, and the Xihai City has built a space corridor, then the Antarctic Scientific Research Station will be able to manage any geological disasters in the world. The weather can rain in arid areas and increase the temperature in cold areas, so as to achieve that every area in the world is a civilized paradise. After Zhang Daqiang finished speaking, Ying Ziyue showed a really comfortable smile. This is the real comfortable smile. Now he has seen the first step with his own eyes. That is the tremendous power contained in the Nanjing Scientific Research Station. I saw the detailed explosion of the layout in my own hands behind him. Li Hao, the deputy captain's eyes, besides bowing to worship, the rest is shock. As the deputy captain of the Zhulang Rebirth Project, he knows the process the Earth needs to go through to enter the first-class civilization. But now the first-class civilization ability appears, that is management and monitoring, prevention of tsunami in any address area in the world, etc. This means that there will never be any fatal disasters on the Earth. The next thing they need to defend is satellites, which are meteoswarms in the universe, but there is no need to worry too much, because Li Hao's eyes are looking at the direction of the moon. On the moon, the Eye of the Earth has already been installed in the east, as currently the largest detection device. The Eye of the Earth is placed at the moon's east latitude. It can be said that the disasters that the Earth will encounter within 10 years, impact meteorite groups, etc. can be observed. It can be said that the Earth's observatory is the Antarctic Scientific Research Station, and the observatory in the universe is the Moon-Earth Eye device. The Antarctic Scientific Research Station base is really like the crystallization of alien civilization, because it is made up of piece by piece, whether it is a dome structure or a foundation structure. One room, one area, one mineral area, energy area, business area, entertainment area, scientific research area, and so on. All look like living in an alien. The grey environment of Antarctica seems to be a region of the world. In an accurate sense, it is more terrifying than some stars in the universe. Therefore, it is also a well-deserved extraterrestrial surface. From July 1, 23rd of the Ice Age until August 1, 23rd of the Ice Age, Ying Ziyue spent a month at the Antarctic Research Station. It can be said that within this month he followed the research team to the deepest part of Antarctica. Top icebergs, deep trenches have been surveyed, air orientation, etc. A dangerous task. At 10 AM on August 1, 23rd of the Ice Age, the giant robots at the Antarctic Research Station are standing in a row one by one. There are a total of thousands of robots, and they are in front of the robots. Antarctic Scientific Research Station, 172 scientific research professors. Everyone is wearing military green cold clothes. Everyone stands upright, and then salutes. Ying Ziyue replied, "This is a tribute to 2 generations." Then he got on the flying chariot, and next he was going to a new area. This area will also be the only place to go home. Chapter 450. Now, as the flying chariot exits the Antarctic region again, The 3 engines are on, all the visibility in front of you, and the scenery in front of you are spread out. The waves are magnificent. The blue sea appears at the same time the blue sky appears. Heavy snow, storms, and snow weather all appear. Seeing this kind of weather again, all Ying Ziyue has is to like, because I'm in the Antarctic, that grey area, it gives people this feeling of depression. Because that is an area where cold gas condenses. Now, the waves are magnificent, and the picture is stunning, and bright. The co-pilot Xihai is reporting. Report team leader, which area shall we head to next? Ying Ziyue squinted her eyes. The direction home is to go to the equatorial countries in the southern hemisphere. You know that the next step is to observe the area of 100,000 engines around the world. The top 10 regions with 100,000 engines in the world are extremely critical. 420. Because the top 10 engines have the largest kinetic energy and the most important position, the top 10 engines are there. This is Africa. Go to Africa. As Ying Ziyue spoke, engineer Xihai became excited. It is an unknown area, an unknown territory, because there are too many records about Africa. This place will also be called the place where the Cambrian broke out in the true sense. So Xihai is extremely curious about what it looks like now. The anti-gravity engine, the nuclear fission engine, and the turbo-rotating engine. All 3 engines started. The flying chariot is like a bolt of lightning, but it is galloping towards the southern hemisphere at a speed of 800 km per hour. The target of the flying tank was an African state. The blizzards in the sky were directly pierced by. It looks like the flying chariot is like a golden lightning, smashing through the thunder and lightning clouds, white snow, and hail at the same time. As the African states are gradually approaching, the warning defense is automatically turned on the flying tank, and wait for the intelligent signal reminder. one by one. The picture in front of me also began to change. That is, the color of Africa is different from before. In the civilization period, this was the prairie, which was rich in plant life and animal life. Within 22 years of the Ice Age, it was covered with large icebergs and plate collisions. It can be said that everything is buried here, and there is only ice and snow under the grassland. Endless snow and ice. The development of Africa is too difficult. Eastern development has pulled away one after another icebergs, which shows the extent of the snow accumulation here. How terrible is it? But at the moment, the flying chariot is at a speed of kilometers per hour and an altitude of 1700 meters. At this height, Ying Ziyue can clearly see the peculiar posture of Africa after its completion. The wind speed is close to 0.2 per second, which is close to normal. The cold is close to -41 degrees, which is an area with the best temperature in the world. At first, the sub-zero average was 67 degrees, but then, Dongfang has carried out a massive snow removal project, and the temperature here has once again returned to the normal temperature of the equator. Looking down from a height of more than 1000 meters, you can see that the African state in front of you is no longer a vast expanse of whiteness. Africa now, a new time has appeared in the prairie. That is, a piece of forest is growing more brilliantly. They grow on the snow, grow on the iceberg. Then countless mammoths began to migrate. Ying Ziyue also saw the figure of a dinosaur, which was a figure of a pterodactyl. With the supernatural and magical scene appearing, what Ying Ziyue can feel is the greatness of nature. Especially when the Cambrian life broke out. He really carried out a super layout for the Cambrian. The Cambrian microbial outbreaks, plant outbreaks, and animal outbreaks are vividly displayed in this era. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.